You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to midweek. We've made it to Wednesday.
Look at us.
Good to have you on board for this Wednesday edition of Live at 4.
Yeah. What a beautiful day, too. I did some walking. It's perfect out there.
It is. Very nice.
Well, let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Jacob Madison is out on the patio enjoying the sunshine. Jacob, how's it looking?
Yeah, conditions definitely still very nice out here, although we have seen some more clouds move in throughout the afternoon, but overall temperature still very comfortable. Let's take a look at the temperatures across the area. 63 in Madison, upper 60s further west where there is still a little bit more sunshine, but it is a lot cooler as you get closer to the lake. Only 44 in Milwaukee and 50s for the eastern portion of our area. Current wind speeds though pretty calm, a little bit breezier for areas just to the east, but a lot of the areas seeing wind speeds under 10 miles per hour. And throughout the evening, we're going to continue to see a lot of cloud cover, but we're not expecting the rainfall until around midnight. Temperatures in the lower 60s to 50s throughout the evening, so definitely not too bad. But let's take a look at that rainfall forecast because we are expecting a good amount of rainfall tonight into Thursday morning. We'll start out in the form of just some light showers around midnight, but as we get closer towards Thursday morning, we are going to see more widespread rain, and some of the rain could be heavy, especially for areas east of Madison. Southeastern Wisconsin is expected to see the heaviest rainfall. Definitely could see a few thunderstorms, but we're not expecting severe weather. But overall, be prepared for a pretty rainy Thursday, especially early. But even in the afternoon, when the rain will be a little bit more broken up, we're still expecting some of those showers to continue. So a not very pleasant day tomorrow, but we are going to have a lot of very nice weather over the next week or so. I'll talk more in detail about that coming up a little bit later.
Looking forward to that, Jacob. Thank you. First at 4, we have new information this afternoon.
The woman accused of killing her mother received a $1 million cash bond at a court appearance today. Sierra Schoonover is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with 2 modifiers, one for using a dangerous weapon and another for domestic abuse.
The charges stem from the death of 54-year-old Heather Schoonover on April 14th. Police responded to a home on Smoky Mountain Trail in the village of Blue Mounds. Police took Sierra into custody after she crashed her car near Blue Rock Road on State Highway 78. She was in the hospital until Monday night when she was booked into the Dane County Jail. She is set to appear in court again on June 2nd.
If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, this is the Domestic Abuse Intervention Services helpline. It's available 24/7. Even if you aren't from Dane County, you can call this number and DAYS will direct you to resources within your area. If you don't feel safe calling, text the number at the bottom of your screen.
The Madison Police Department's annual report for 2024 is out. In total, officers responded to over 191,000 reports for service last year. That's up almost 7,000 from the year prior. As for violent crime, the report shows in 2024, homicides were down 30% compared to 2023. Forcible rape was up 22%. Aggravated assault dropped 6% and robbery dropped about 17%. For property crime, burglaries were down 48%, theft was up slightly 1%, and motor vehicle theft was down 50%.
When it comes to the arrests, police identified about 6,500 distinct adult individuals that accounted for the 9,116 instances of physical arrest in 2024. About 1,200 people were arrested more than once, accounting for nearly 20% of all arrests. Black people accounted for 34% of those distinct arrests. The U.S. Census Bureau says Madison's population in July of 2024 was 7.1% black. White people, who make up 73% of Madison's population, accounted for 50% of 2024's distinct arrests. 68% of the arrests were men, and 18% more than Madison's male population. Well, 2 new homes are move-in ready on Madison's southwest side, completing one of the city's affordable housing development projects.
Our Merrill Hubbard introduces us to a first-time homeowner as she gets ready to move in.
The City of Madison, the Madison Area Community Land Trust, and the Wisconsin Partnership for Housing Development all work together to bring these two homes off the ground.
It's a different vibe when you can call it your own, you know.
Elsa Floyd moved to Madison with her husband and 2 kids in 2015. Last November, they decided to move on from renting and started to look at the city's affordable housing programs. From fixing their credit to taking courses on ownership, she said it took time to get to this point. But now she will be moving into her first home as the owner.
All the hard work is done, right? Because there is a lot of paperwork and documents that you have to hand in to these agencies in order to qualify for, you know, maybe like down payment assistance and that sort of thing. So I think it's a sense of relief now that we feel. So now the hard part is moving in.
Qualifying for affordable housing depends on how a person's income relates to the area's median income, factoring in family size as well. Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
To see if you qualify for affordable housing or to learn more about home ownership, you can find more resources on channel3000.com.
Disability rights advocates say the future of their work is uncertain with the Trump administration's reorganization of the Health and Human Services Department.
Arman Rahman shows us some of the organizations here in Wisconsin and the assistance they've provided that they say is in jeopardy.
The Trump administration says it's aiming to save taxpayers roughly $2 billion a year, but that could mean cutting roughly 20,000 employees from HHS and potentially eliminating aging and disability programs.
Disability Rights Wisconsin, who fights for kids with disabilities, they saved the day.
Disability Rights Wisconsin makes sure people with disabilities have access to necessary equipment, legal support, and a free and appropriate education. That was at risk for Spencer Flickinger, who has autism and ADHD. He was expelled from his high school last year because of an incident at one of his practices his mom says was due to his behavior being misinterpreted. His mother says DRW gave them legal support, which she couldn't afford, and a judge found the expulsion was not warranted and overturned it.
They also helped us navigate and find a school that was a fit for him, a school that treated him like a human, treated him like a whole child, treated him, and had services that, supported his disabilities and looked at his strengths.
A leaked document alerted organizations like DRW about the cuts. It recommends eliminating state developmental disability councils, protection and advocacy agencies like DRW, and even long-term care and state health insurance assistance programs.
That leaked document is just a proposal, so nothing is final in there yet. Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Armand. The Madison Reading Project has formalized its partnership with the Madison School District to help keep kids reading all summer long. The nonprofit enrolls any child from birth to age 5 who lives in Dane County to receive a free book to their home every month. The mission to foster reading has been going on for more than a decade. For more information, visit the Madison Schools website. We have a link on channel3000.com.
120 students from Madison are taking part in this week's Project Soapbox Youth Speech Showcase, and they range from 6th graders to high school seniors. Project Soapbox is a national program, and it gives a chance to share speeches on topics they care about right in front of their peers. Additionally, each student has to present a solution to their chosen issue. We spoke with an event organizer about why it's important kids get to do this.
It's really to raise their voices, make sure that we're, as adults, hearing what they have to say about issues that they care about, not that we care about.
Select students from each Soapbox event, including the one here in Madison, will be invited to participate in Soapbox Nation. That will be a national showcase featuring speakers from all over the country.
We now know the schedule for the Madison Symphony Orchestra's 100th season. To commemorate the milestone, the orchestra will host 2 centennial opening weekend concerts. In September, they'll be at the Overture Center. The regular concert season starts in October and ends in May of 2026. The 2025-26 season schedule features beloved performances such as Toy Story and A Madison Symphony Christmas. You can find a list of all of the featured shows at this story on channel3000.com.
It is really feeling like gardening season out there.
Is.
So if you have a plant or gardening question, you can email it to us now.
Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be joining us here on Live at 4 in just a little bit. The email address is tips at channel3000.com, and Lisa will answer your questions a little later on Live at 4.
Looking forward to it. Coming up, how cuts to Medicaid could affect people who aren't even using the program.
Plus, new data shows how the Trump administration's latest policies are affecting the economy, how it's impacting the stock market. U.S. stocks recovered this afternoon after sinking earlier today. After starting the day down 700 points, the Dow ended the day 140 points up. The Nasdaq lost 15 and the S&P 500 closed up just about 8 points.
The early losses were in response to a new report on the GDP. The Commerce Department found the U.S. economy had its worst quarter since 2022. Gross domestic product, which measures all the goods and services produced in the economy, registered at an annualized rate of 0.3% in the first quarter. That's a sharp downturn from the fourth quarter's 2.4% rate and much worse than the 0.8% rate economists projected. But the Trump administration says the report is actually good news.
So the idea that there's a recession coming should be heavily discounted, because when we take into effect that the tax cuts coming and the underlying strength of the economy, then I think all things are good.
Peter Navarro is referencing a GOP budget that extends 2017 tax cuts while reducing federal spending on programs like Medicaid by $1.5 trillion.
And we have new information today on the cost of Medicaid cuts for Wisconsinites. Many programs with different names are actually part of Medicaid. In addition to Badger Care Plus, which has about 1 million members and covers things like preventive care, ER visits, and vaccines, cuts could affect family care, IRIS, PACE, and the Children's Long-Term Support Waiver Program. Medicaid covers a fifth of the Wisconsinites, including 40% of births and 38% of kids. The director of state Medicaid says even people not on Medicaid will bear the consequences.
To invest more state dollars to maintain our program, which means either taking away state revenue from other important items like education, childcare, transportation, or increasing taxes. The other options include covering fewer people on Medicaid, which will increase the uninsured rate for our state, which increases costs to hospitals and other healthcare providers, which ultimately gets passed on to all healthcare consumers.
The Wisconsin Department of Health Services says Wisconsin could lose up to $16.8 billion over 10 years if the federal government makes Medicaid cuts. Wisconsinites could end up on the hook for $93 million, too.
The CEO of Adidas says all items, including hats and shoes, will cost more as a result of the White House policies. Adidas manufactures and sources many products in China, Vietnam, and India. On April 9th, President Trump announced a 3-month tariff pause for many countries except for China, which is still facing a 145% import penalty.
Mohsen Mandawi is free. A judge ordered the Palestinian man's release earlier today after immigration officials arrested him. The U.S. government argued Mandawi, a legal permanent resident for 10 years, was removable under the Immigration and Nationality Act. They claimed his actions would have serious adverse foreign policy consequences. Those actions led to protests against the war in Gaza at Columbia University. Meanwhile, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who the government mistakenly deported in March, remains in El Salvador. In an interview with ABC News, the president said he could bring Abrego Garcia back, but doesn't want to. That contradicts previous statements from the administration that the U.S. does not have the ability to bring Abrego Garcia back.
It's Wednesday, but it feels like weekend weather out there.
It does.
Don't ditch those umbrellas just yet, though. Jacob joins us with the first WARN forecast.
Thanks, Brady. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Not much has changed in the forecast compared to yesterday. We're still expecting those showers tonight into Thursday. Mild and dry, though, over the weekend, and those temperatures will continue warming up for next week, where highs are going to be in the 70s. Now, let's start with that rainfall forecast. We're going to continue to see a lot of cloud cover this evening, but we're not expecting rain until closer to around 10 p.m. to midnight, and it's going to start in the form of light showers, but we are going to see more consistent rain move into the area during the early morning hours Thursday and continue after sunrise for Thursday. Heaviest rain will be east of Madison near Lake Michigan. A few thunderstorms are possible, but we're not expecting any severe weather. Now, the heaviest rain will be in the morning. It'll get a little bit more broken up for the late morning and afternoon, but we're still expecting a few scattered showers for just about everybody, so some sprinkles are possible throughout the entire day, but we also are going to see at least a few breaks in the rain. Now, as we get into Thursday night, we could be seeing another round of some showers and thunderstorms, but it looks like it'll dissipate a little bit as it moves from west to east. And as we get into Friday, still going to see some light rain. By the time we get to the afternoon, though, we are going to see a little bit more sunshine, but we could see a few showers move through, especially south of Madison, but it's not going to be nearly as widespread as it will be later tonight into Thursday morning. Now, total precipitation will be about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch for everybody, but could see a little bit more in southeastern Wisconsin, where up to 1 inch of rain is possible. Now, once that rain clears out, again, could see some lingering showers Friday, but that'll be just about it for the rainfall going forward. We're almost certainly going to be dry over the weekend. Do have a little bit of a better chance of rain towards the end of next week, but it looks pretty light. Now, temperatures obviously for your Thursday will be on the cooler side with that rainfall and consistent cloud cover. Highs will be in the middle to upper 50s, maybe lower 60s further west, where there could be a little bit more sunshine. But then for the weekend, it's going to be very nice. Highs near 60 for Saturday, then near 70 for Sunday. Plenty of sunshine both days and also very little wind, so it may feel even warmer with that sun shining. And very nice weather is going to continue for next week as well. And temperatures will be even warmer by the time we get to Tuesday, where highs will be in the middle 70s from Tuesday all the way through next weekend. And as I mentioned, we do have a small chance of some rain, but nothing looks too significant. We are still expecting plenty of sunshine starting Saturday and continuing all the way through the end of the extended forecast.
Wow, look at that stretch.
I know. That's nice. And it's right in time for the farmers market on Saturday. Very good. Thanks, Jacob. Coming up on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be answering your questions.
Yep, you can still email Lisa a question if you have one at tips@channel3000.com. She will join us live from the Bruce Company to answer your questions when we come back. Well, it is a beautiful spring day to talk about getting in the garden.
Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is joining us. We are taking your questions for Lisa at tips@channel3000.com. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello, you guys. How are you doing?
Oh, doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, well, we're going to keep you busy. Rhoda from DeForest has an important question about strawberries. She wants to know, which variety would you recommend? They're looking for something sweeter.
Okay, and I did not plan that we were going to be filming this in front of a rack full of strawberries, but here we are. So the everbearing types are the easiest and most prolific ones to grow, and I asked Skylar, who is our greenery lead, what her favorite is, and she said there's a variety called Tristan that she thinks is the best. So I would go with Tristan. If you can't find that, Ozark Beauty is also very good.
Okay, all right, nothing better than fresh strawberries.
That sounds good.
Joe is reading my mind. Joe has a question. I would like to plant some tomato plants. When is a good time to plant tomatoes?
Okay, so tomatoes are in our greenhouse, and they're in our greenhouse for a reason. It's because the nights are still too chilly for them to be outside. They don't do any growth outside till the night temps are above 50, and if they're below 50 and getting close to 40, they can cause some damage. So you can go ahead and buy them if you find them. Heaven knows lots of them are flying out of the door here, but you're going to want to keep them close to the house so you can bring them in and out on nights when it's going to get below, I'd say, 48.
All right, this next question's a thinker. A viewer wants to know her shrub rose is dead. That person mulched it with at least 5 inches of miles, but then all the branches broke off at the same level as the mulch. So the other shrub rose is only 3 feet away. It's already leafing out and looking green and healthy, but the one with the broken off branches is dead. Any idea why?
Well, broken branches is like a really good idea, a really good reason. I don't know if maybe a little snow got on it or an animal laid on it. But the good news is that shrub roses are on their own root, which means that when new growth comes from the root, it'll be the same thing that was above ground when she planted it. So it's a little soon to be seeing that. 5 inches of mulch is a lot of mulch. She should pull that carefully back and then wait to see if some new growth comes from the base of the plant, from underground. And if that's the case, then it will catch up to the other one probably by the end of the summer and still flower this year.
All right, great. Terry has a good question. He wants to know, are plants available to attract hummingbirds to your yard? Are they available now?
Yeah, there are lots of really good annuals that will attract hummingbirds. Cupfia is one of them. Of course, fuchsia. There's a fuchsia called Gardenmeister. That's a hummingbird magnet. As a rule, they like brighter, intense colors, not necessarily red, purples as well. They just like those colors to be really saturated. And you want them to be tube-shaped because those are the ones that have the highest amount of nectar.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more. Sandy from McFarland wants to know some very old creeping phlox in the rock garden. There's some dead stuff underneath. Wants to know if you should cut that out or just kind of leave it.
If it's if there's a lot of it and you don't see, and she doesn't see any growth coming, yes, she could go and clean that out a little bit, gently, carefully, so that if there's stuff that's still viable, that she doesn't damage that. And then creeping phlox is a really prolific grower. It will cover the damage soon enough.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. I always at least has the best office in the whole world.
I know. Let's join you next time.
Yes, let's do that. That's a good plan. All right,
and happy May Day to you guys.
Oh, yeah, to you too. To you too, Lisa. We'll do that. We'll head out to your way next time. Yeah. All right, have a good afternoon, and thanks for your questions, everybody. Coming up on Live at 4, we'll hear from the city of Fitchburg after residents there complained about the wheel tax.
Plus, why UW students are wearing denim today.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, if you haven't yet, and if you are able, it is a great day to get outside.
Nice day to be on the path, take a walk, and seize the day because showers are on the way. Jacob is out on the weather patio. Hi, Jacob. When can we expect some rain?
Well, the good news is that we won't see that rain until closer to midnight, but it is going to last into a lot of Thursday, especially Thursday morning. But the rest of today is looking pretty good. Let's take a look at the current temperatures. 60s across the board really for the most part, I should say, with some 50s further east and actually 40s closer to Lake Michigan. But it is going to remain dry for the evening. Temperatures will be dropping into the 50s. Could see a few peaks of sunshine. Right now, we're seeing pretty much complete cloud cover, but we're not expecting that rain until around midnight. Now, the rain will start fairly light, but as we get later into the night and closer to sunrise Thursday, we are going to see some scattered showers, maybe a few isolated thunderstorms, again, especially for areas east of Madison. Southeastern Wisconsin in general could see quite a bit of rain from this. The rest of our area still expecting some consistent shower activity, but it will get a little bit more broken up in the afternoon, but we still will see that rainfall, and rain could be heavy at times, but we're not going to see any severe weather. So looking at the forecast for your Thursday, highs will only get to about the upper 50s as well, with plenty of rain, and even if it's not raining, we're still going to see some pretty cloudy skies. So overall, not a very great day to spend outside, but trust me when I say there is a lot of very nice days in the forecast. I'll talk about that coming up a little bit later.
Thank you, Jacob. The woman accused of killing her mother received a $1 million cash bond in court today. Sierra Schoonover is charged with first-degree intentional homicide with 2 modifiers, one for using a dangerous weapon and another for domestic abuse.
The charges stem from the death of 54-year-old Heather Schoonover on April 14th. Police responded to a home on Smoky Mountain Trail in the village of Blue Mounds. Police took Sierra into custody after she crashed her car near Blue Rock Road on State Highway 78. She was in the hospital until Monday night when she was booked into the Dane County Jail. She's set to appear in court again on June 2nd.
This is the Domestic Abuse Intervention Services helpline. It's available 24/7. Even if you aren't from Dane County, you can still call this number and DAYS will direct you to the resources within your area. If you don't feel safe enough to call, text the number at the bottom of your screen.
The state Supreme Court is suspending its investigation into the leaking of a draft order on an abortion rights case. The justices say the leak was likely deliberate, but that the investigation did not definitively identify a culprit. Last July, the court moved to hear arguments in a case challenging the state's 1849 abortion ban. In a separate order, the court denied requests from some anti-abortion groups to directly intervene in the case. The court says portions of a confidential draft of the order were published by Wisconsin Watch's Jack Kelly. Then Chief Justices Annette Ziegler called for the investigation.
Independent investigators could not identify who leaked the draft order, but the investigation did uncover some security issues they recommended addressing, and that includes regularly updating staff keycard information, ensuring hard copies of confidential documents are delivered in secure packaging, and requiring staff to only use government-issued email accounts. All 7 members of the court ultimately condemned the breach. The case in question is still ongoing.
Well, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and this is the last day of April, last day of the month. Every year on April 30th, organizers recognize Denim Day.
It's a day dedicated to survivors and preventing sexual abuse. News 3 Now's Tanisha Shaw reports from UW-Madison's campus.
A 1998 court case at the Italian Supreme Court has an impact that transcends time.
So there was a classic case in an Italian Supreme Court where a woman was sexually assaulted, and they used what they called the jeans alibi, meaning that because she was wearing tight jeans, she must have assisted her assailant in taking her clothes off as part of her assault, and it was used essentially to let her perpetrator go free.
Molly Caradonna is a director at University Health Services at UW-Madison. She organized this event dedicated to Denim Day on UW's campus with an art exhibit and more.
It's really about debunking the myths around sexual violence and victim blaming that tends to happen for survivors of sexual violence.
According to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center, 1 in 5 women in the U.S. have experienced some form of rape, while nearly a quarter of men have the same experience. In recent years, assault at UW-Madison and other college campuses across the nation have been consistent.
So we know across the nation about 1 in 6 students are impacted by sexual violence, and that's true here on our UW-Madison campus.
I'll have more on how UW-Madison is recognizing Denim Day tonight at 6. Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
There are resources for everyone, even if you are not a student. The National Sexual Assault Hotline number is on your screen. That's 1-800-656-4673.
After beginning the day down 700 points earlier today, the Dow ended the day up about 142 points. At the close, the NASDAQ lost 15 and the S&P 500 is up just about 8 points.
We continue our coverage of the new vehicle registration fee in Fitchburg.
Earlier this month, the city's Common Council passed the new fee in a 5-4 vote, with Fitchburg's mayor, Julia Arata-Frada, serving as the tiebreaker. News 3 Now's Jalen Banks spoke with the city on why they took this route to pass it.
After a referendum failed to pass on the 2024 November ballot, the city of Fitchburg sought alternative options, leading them to a municipal vehicle registration fee. I spoke with the city on why they took that path earlier today.
On April 8th, Fitchburg's Common Council voted to pass a vehicle registration fee. It passed with a 5-4 vote, with the city's mayor serving as the tiebreaker. This would be an additional $40 to any state and county registration fees. This comes after a referendum on the November 2024 ballot failed to pass. At the April 8th Common Council meeting, residents voiced their displeasure with the proposed measure. And speaking to the city's administrator, he says although it is a difficult decision, it's one the city's representation felt was necessary.
Ultimately, the Common Council had made the determination, much like I believe every other municipality that's implemented this fee, that it was not going to take it to a referendum question, that it was just going to be a legislative action based upon the fact that council members had been elected by their respective districts to represent the community as a whole.
For now, reporting in Fitchburg, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Jalen. The registration fee in Fitchburg will start after August 1st.
Coming up on Live at 4, the governor's budget continues to make its way through the legislature.
How much he's proposed the state allocate for the Department of Transportation when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing our ongoing coverage of the state budget.
And today we are tackling the proposed spending for Wisconsin's Department of Transportation. Our political analyst Brandon Schultz joins us now. Hello again.
Hi, Brandon. Good to see you.
Welcome to budget week number whatever it is.
Yeah, so where are we at then?
You know, the legislature's actually on track. This month they finished the 4 statewide hearings that they had around the state, and you had hundreds, if not a couple of thousand people come in and speak to them for 3 minutes. And if you see the list of all the topics that people came to speak on their own, not lobbyists and professionals, there were some there, but these are people that just came and have a concern, an issue, or support something. Lots and lots and lots of issues. So that's really good. That's really impressive to have that sort of citizen participation, but that legislators went out and around to Hayward, Eau Claire, and Milwaukee Place. So that was really good. They're finished now, so they come back to Madison, and starting in May, they'll start to have what are known as agency briefings. So we know that there's 55 agencies in the $119 billion budget. Wow. Not all of them will be there, but a good number of them will come, and they'll come and talk about what their budgets are, their requests, what the governor put in this budget. And then they'll start the hard work of deciding how much here, do we like this, and that's a long, long process.
Well, let's talk a little planes, trains, and automobiles.
You bet.
How big is the budget for the Department of Transportation, and how does this one compare to budgets in the past?
The Department of Transportation is the 5th largest state budget. It's behind health services and UW and taxes. So it's number 5, and it's $8.5 billion. Now that's a lot of money. It's about $1.5 billion more than it was last time. So if you look on the chart, you'll see up there where each year, so we've got about $4.3 billion in the first year and $4.243 billion the next year. As I said, almost $1.5 billion, 20% more than last time. Below that, if you'll take a look, you could see where some of the money is being spent. You see in this coming budget, $59 million for road projects, major project, 141 on construction for the first quarter of 25. State highway rehab funding comes in at $319 million. But there's other things. There's safety and weight facilities. And we're going to get some of the other things that the department does that you don't think that they would be responsible for. But we always talk about roads. And then there's, this is one, there's a bridge replacement. I-94 has got some bridge replacement stuff going on. One of the things to note, though, is of the $8.5 billion, $2 billion comes from the gas tax. So when you fill up your car, that little cent goes to the state. But then they get it from, so it's gas tax, registration, license, inspections, and other taxes that they put on rails and planes. And they also get a lot of money from the federal government. So taxpayers get hit with a double whammy. You pay your state taxes, pay your federal taxes, at least some of that money comes back to Wisconsin. So you see on the screen, it's the season of orange barrels that we're growing into. So this is a commonplace no matter where you go across the state. But that's what everybody thinks about when they think about the Department of Transportation. It's the orange barrel season. Other things that they take care of, and there's a lot. The Wisconsin Transportation Association talks about safety. So we just had National Safety Awareness Week in Wisconsin, and that's because it's the work zone that they are important. Work zone awareness. You will know in Wisconsin's work zone between 2019 and 23, 10,600 crashes. And that's with all this awareness, all those cones, all the things that you see. 64 deaths, unfortunately. We had 300 injuries. Again, one of the things on the Department of Transportation's list of things to do. Here's what you probably didn't know, roundabouts. Remember when roundabouts started, 20-some odd years ago? Said, what are these things? And
I still say that sometimes.
You do. Wisconsin's construction peaked in 2011 when they built 51 of them. Now, Wisconsin built 29 in 2023 and 13 just in 2024. So they're going to continue. That's part of it. But there's more. Oh, I know. Where do you see most of these roundabouts? Almost 400 of them are just on local roads. It's not just all highways, another 300 on state highways. We mentioned before bridges. Bridges are under the realm of the Department of Transportation. The Transportation Safety Boards told the owners of 68 bridges in 19 states to conduct a vulnerability study. We have one in Wisconsin, so they're going up to Green Bay to take a look at the Leo Frigo Bridge in Green Bay. It's one that has to be taken care of. Finally, on road work, we talked about, when it's summer, you see the barrels, and so there's all sorts of things. Governor's budget includes work on the I-39-90-94 expansion. He talks about the aging of I-794 in Milwaukee. That's going to take public hearings. And they're going to, this is what I love the most. They fix potholes. Potholes are the most important thing they can do. And if you remember 8 years ago, what was one of Tony Evers' big campaign promises? I'll fix the damn potholes.
Yeah.
That's what we did. So one last thing. We have 11,753 miles of roads in Wisconsin. And if you laid dollar bills end to end to end to end to end, you know how many it would take? 121 million of them end to end. So that's
despite the ones that went in the potholes.
Yes, despite the ones in the potholes. So, the Department of Transportation does a lot, tons. And their budget of $8.5 million is, probably they would spend every penny on all the things they have. If people have questions about their roads and what it is, call your legislator. Get on the phone or send them an email. There's plenty of answers out there.
All right.
Very interesting.
Thanks for driving us through this.
Yeah,
you bet.
We'll be right back. Well, we're taking a live look at Kansas City. I love that skyline. It is 66 degrees and kind of cloudy there.
Well, it's pretty similar to our weather here, right, Jacob? Not too, almost similar.
Yeah, I think
maybe a
temperature.
little less sunshine.
Yeah, I think temperatures are like 63 to 65 degrees depending on your location, maybe a little bit cooler east, but we are seeing a decent amount of cloud cover with a few peaks of sunshine right now. Now, looking at the three things you need to know, we'll see some showers tonight and Thursday, but it will be mild and dry over the weekend with those temperatures expected to warm up for next week where highs will be in the 70s. So looking at the rainfall forecast, will be dry for the next couple of hours, but around midnight we'll start to see some light rain move in with more consistent rain expected towards sunrise Thursday. Heaviest will be east of Madison near Lake Michigan, where we could see a few thunderstorms as well, but not expected to see severe weather. The most consistent rain will occur during the morning, but we're still expecting a few light showers and maybe still a few isolated storms for the afternoon. But in general, we may continue to see just some sprinkles throughout the day. So there really is a chance of rain at any point during the day. It just won't be as consistent as it will be in the morning. Now, Thursday night, we could see another round of some light precipitation, but once we get to Friday, a lot of that will be out of the area. Now, total precipitation will be about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch for a lot of the area. Places further west and northwest may see a little bit less, but again, southeastern Wisconsin could see up to an inch of rainfall. Now, looking at the rain chances after that, there's not really going to be a lot. We'll be dry over the weekend and into next week, and even in the extended forecast, it looks like we're going to remain relatively dry. Dry conditions are expected across the Great Lakes in the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook. Now, as far as temperatures, we are going to see lows dropping to around 50 tonight because of that cloud cover, so it won't be as cold as it was this morning. But the temperatures for the afternoon tomorrow will be colder than they were this afternoon. Highs only going to get into the middle and upper 50s, maybe lower 60s further west where there will be just a little bit more sunshine. But as we head towards next week, temperatures are going to continuously warm up. Near 60 Friday and Saturday, near 70 Sunday, Monday, middle 70s for Tuesday through really the end of next week. And like I mentioned with the rainfall forecast, we really aren't expecting much after the rain tonight into tomorrow. Maybe some light rain Friday, but the weekend almost certainly going to be dry. A lot of next week will be dry as well. Maybe some light precipitation towards the end of the week, but we still aren't going to see anything significant, and we'll continue to see plenty of sunshine.
Welcome back. Madison's Henry Vila Zoo recently welcomed 2 new members to the family, and you can meet them this weekend.
Oh my goodness, the zoo has announced today 2 North American river otter pups. There they are. So there's a female, Ginger, and a little guy named Wasabi. They were born in February to Mother Elva and Father Dragon Roll.
Can you hear those squeaks?
I love
they
those
sound like little
squeaks.
birds.
Hello, squeak, squeak, squeak. Ginger and Wasabi will make their debut on Saturday during the zoo's annual Party for the Planet. The event is free. I want to go see them now.
Welcome to Madison.
We'll be right back.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Live at 4. We'll have more on the concerns being raised about the FDA's suspension of milk quality testing. That's tomorrow at 4. And later ahead on News 3 Now at 5, the new scam the Better Business Bureau wants you to be on the lookout for. That's straight ahead tonight at 5. Thanks for watching Live at 4, everybody. Have a great afternoon. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.